which he left the club, including Bruno Fernandes, saying, "You deserve to say goodbye." Excuse me, I'm emotional. At the stadium with all the fans cheering for all the beautiful memories. You made history at the club and your name will never be forgotten. And that no one can take away from you. All the best for what's coming for you and your family. What do you think, Shaq?
I think Bruno Fernandes has a point, but let's keep in mind that Manchester United also played in the FA Cup final, so it wasn't really, I don't think the last league game of the season, whatever that was, would have been the opportune time. And decisions were still being made.
Well, they were still flirting with every other goalkeeper.
It still wasn't an absolute certainty that he'd leave. That being said, things happened as they did, and you move on. So while I understand what Bruno Fernandes is trying to say, sometimes things don't come together as smoothly as you would hope, and you just deal with it. I don't know what the big kind of, I don't know, can we call it a brouhaha is about?
Well, 4 times he was best player at Manchester United.
Absolutely.
And he's just been shown the back door.
Listen,
no respect, no goodbye, no trophy.
I have spoken about how they've handled that David De Gea situation, which I think was awful. But the fact that somehow to make it better would be affording him an opportunity to say goodbye on the pitch, I don't get that. I don't care whether I get to say goodbye or not. Just deal with me properly. Deal with me as a player who served you for as long as David De Gea did, with the successes that he did. If you can't do that behind closed doors, then don't pony me out on the pitch to wave goodbye. You two don't go hand in hand, or one doesn't make up for the other.
As a side note, sign of the times. I imagine that this is a message that Bruno Fernandes put out on social media.
Yes, I didn't hack his emails.
Right. Whatever happened, if he felt so strongly about David De Gea, whatever happened to just, I would have to imagine that he has his phone number and have a conversation with David De Gea if he was so meaningful to Bruno Fernandes. But no, it's all about putting it out there, and now we play this game out where it's heartfelt and we love you and we're going to miss you and all these things. Have a conversation with David De Gea.
Maybe he did as well. Maybe he had a conversation and
so then what was the need to put this out?
It was just...
You're the one who hacked his emails.
Yeah. You should know.
Well, you should see your emails.
What?
Nedum, what do you make of this situation?
I think I'm with Shaka. I think ultimately, if he thought that he was going to be, if he thought he was going to be leaving, he probably would have said goodbye at the last league game of the season that they had. He probably would have been waving to people after the FA Cup final. But I guess in his mind, he probably thought he was going to be staying on. So as a consequence, the opportunity is now gone, and maybe there was a breakdown in communication from that point. But then also, Fernandes putting out the tweet or the Instagram or whatever it is, I think that is interesting, because the way that I see that is that he's obviously good to praise your former teammate, but it's throwing a little bit of shade saying you deserve more, you deserve better. Like, who is that aimed at? That seems like it's aimed to me at the club and the way they've handled that situation. So I think it's interesting that he's felt comfortable enough to do that, because other people have just said, what a great servant you were, what an honour it was to play with you, blah, blah, blah. But Fernandes just went that little bit further. But this is the way football goes sometimes.
And he's going to be club captain, Nedum.
Listen, maybe he's leading by example. Maybe this is the United players putting their foot down, joining up with the fans, saying, we're unhappy with the way that things are being run now. I really, really don't know. But it's an interesting thing for him to say, especially if it's someone like Ten Hag that made the decision that he didn't want him, because all of a sudden the club takes up the face of being the manager, the guy that's going to be selecting you. But by all accounts, Fernandes, he seems to have been a good captain for them. Players seem to like him. He's consistent. He's available. So yeah, there must be more to it, and I guess he knows that dressing room better than any of us do.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.